Hello everyone, my name is Chuck and welcome back to another Jada Toys action figure review, or Yada Toys. It's Jada. Today we're going to be taking a look at the one and only Target exclusive CHUN-LI from Street Fighter 2, and this is one of the figures that I have been looking for months. I never saw it at Targets, and I'm like, why was there no Chun-Li at Targets? I really wanted her. But my local shop came through, they had one of them available, and I had to snag it. It does seem to be maybe a reseal, but I'm not entirely sure. It looks brand new, actually, so that's pretty good, in all honesty. So without further ado, let's take this one out and see how she looks. Where's my blade? Oh, it's right here. Alright, so here we have Chun-Li in all of her beautiful glory. And honestly, this is one of the cooler looking Chun-Li figures that I own, and I am glad to finally have this in my collection because I have been looking for this figure for months, as I already mentioned. I just could never find it. It was never in my Targets, and even the stacked up Targets that I went to, they didn't have it. But she looks beautiful. Honestly, the red really does complement her well, which is great. In terms of just comparisons, here's how she compares to Cammy. They are pretty much the same height, at least for these figures. Jada does have pretty good scales for these types of lines, which is really cool. Now, in terms of just everything else, she looks phenomenal. Again, the red is a beautiful Chinese New Year's red, which is okay. I might be completely wrong if it's Chinese New Year's. If I am, I do apologize. But I know Chinese, China in general has a bunch of red as kind of like their main color, like cultural color. And of course, she is a Chinese character, and her being a quote-unquote Target exclusive did make it out into a really good looking figure. She doesn't change much. She does change the blue, the white sort of like bun covers, the waistband and the boots to a nice looking pinkish, cream pinkish, which is pretty cool. The tights seem to be the same, although again, the knees are a little bit of a different color. The wristbands or the wrist bracelets are also pretty nice. They do rotate as well, which is awesome. The gold in general is very nicely painted, and of course you can lift up the skirt if you wanted to, which is really nice. Now, something that I will mention is that Chun-Li is known for her assets, and everyone knows this. She of course has really thick thighs and everything, but let's just look at Cammy from the same line. She has a more defined butt with the legs, which is a little bit interesting. Chun-Li does have a little bit more meatiness on the thighs, which is nice. So it does allow her to still have really good articulation. So in terms of the articulation, just to kind of go through this quickly, she can look down about that far, which is not terrible, but it's not sufficient in my opinion. Looking for upwards about this far, which is nice. Side to side is good. Pivoting, not so much. She does have a very tiny peg, but it's mostly using the neck. So it is a sort of like hinge mechanism for the peg itself, which is not terrible, but they could have done better because with Cammy, I'm pretty sure. Yeah, Cammy has a double ball peg that does allow her to move more, and she does have articulation on the neck as well. So just a couple of disparities, because this is the first female character that they did for the Street Fighter line. So they probably learned from it to make the Cammy and all the other ones that are coming out in the future. But yeah, arms, you can get them to a T-pose, as you probably saw earlier with me kind of like playing around with it. Rotating 360 degrees. Bicep swivel. Double jointed elbow, which honestly, pretty good. Better than 90 degrees. You could, theoretically, get the other side, maybe. Yeah, so you could definitely get them much closer to each other by actually using the entire elbow, so better than 90 all the way throughout, which is awesome. Wrist hinges attached to the hands already. and you can swivel them as you would like. For the torso is a really interesting one because her whole piece is attached to the waistband, so she does have a lot of articulation. Now, this is the biggest issue of Chun-Li figures, especially for Jada toys, is that they will stain with the plastic. So this pink plastic will definitely be stained in the long run. You can already see the stains in the front here from the red paint of the plastic, or the kind of like the red dye of the plastic. I don't know why it took me so long, but yeah. It's fine, although, because she can get really good articulation going forwards and backwards as well. She does have a double ball joint torso, which is really nice. Even pivoting side to side is phenomenal. To the legs, pretty decent splits, almost like literally perfect splits. Kicking forward, also pretty decent, better than 90, of course. You could push it if you wanted to. One of the bigger things about this is that there is a soft plastic sort of like pelvis section, although it is not as good as Cammy's. So Cammy's actually does have a pretty soft plastic lower pelvis, so you can definitely see the difference there. Now, of course, they're different characters, so they will have different articulation in some instances, so it's not really the worst thing. Thigh swivel, which works well. Double jointed knee, which is phenomenal. And a boot swivel as well. Foot hinge, going forward this far, backwards this far, and just pivoting side to side. But yeah, honestly, really good articulation. Now, in terms of the accessories, she does come with pretty much the same amount of accessories as the regular Chun-Li, but it's still a pretty cool amount for them. So let's take a look at those real quick. Alright, so accessories are somewhat lackluster, especially for being exclusive, but it is the exact same amount as the regular blue dress Chun-Li, which is not an issue whatsoever. Honestly, that's better than adding more and just leaving them to an exclusive. So she does have the additional head sculpt where she is shouting, and honestly, the original one was not really the greatest looking, but this one looks phenomenal. I'm pretty sure this was kind of like their second version that they did with it. They did do the second player version for last year's Comic-Con, which you can watch that video on my channel. I'll probably put it down in the link in the description. It's pretty much the exact same figure, but this one looks really nice. Again, it has the pink buns as well and the little ties. Very nicely painted. So yeah, this looks beautiful. She's a beautiful woman, so I'm glad they did it justice. She does have the two karate chop hands that she uses to for her fighting pose before she actually stacks. Mine are a little bit stained with just dirt and grime, which is unfortunate, especially for a brand new figure. But yeah, focus, please. There you go. So they look nice. Again, they are shaded as well, which is pretty cool. And of course, we have the kicking effect. I understand that it is supposed to be blue. It would have been cool if they diverted the color a little bit to make it red to fit in with the whole theme. Because blue is a little bit jarring because you already have a blue one. You don't necessarily need another one. A red one would have been cool. So just to kind of differentiate the two. Or, again, just differentiate them more. But I'm going to go right into my final thoughts. This figure is really good. We already know Jada Toys has, or Jada Toys makes pretty good figures. We already knew that. We are not going to pretend like they can't, or they won't. They are not. So as an overall score, I'm gonna give this figure a 9 out of 10. Again, the only reason why I'm taking out a point is because it is an exclusive that is not really sold that much anymore. So you're pretty much gonna have to find it in the aftermarket. I was lucky enough to find this figure for only $30, so I'm really happy about that. I've seen a lot of vendors Comic-Cons and all that sort of stuff, like events, selling them for $50. Like, she's being sold for a pretty high price, for pretty much $20 more than what she was retailing at, which is unfortunate because this is a really cool looking figure, and I'm just glad that I was able to find one. But yeah, that's pretty much all the time I have for you guys today. Let me know what you guys think about this Chun-Li. Do you like her? Do you not like her? Are you looking for her as well? Because honestly, if you are, hopefully you can actually find her. But that's pretty much all the time I have for you guys today, and I'll see you all in the next one. Bye-bye.